Welcome to the channel Masters of Consciousness. In today's episode, we will delve into the fascinating world of one of the most inspiring teachers of contemporary spiritual and mental development, Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is a figure who combines science with spirituality, neurobiology with meditation, and quantum physics with healing the body and mind. Thanks to his work, millions of people around the world have started to see themselves, their possibilities, and the potential within them differently. At the core of his teachings is a deep conviction that a person is not determined by their genes, past, or environment. It is not these that shape our future. We do, and we do this not by chance, but through conscious choices, thoughts, emotions, and intentions. The key message is that our thoughts have the power of creation. By thinking in a certain way, we send a signal to the universe. We create an energetic field that influences matter. Most people live according to a remembered past. They wake up in the morning, replay the same habits, think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and then expect their lives to change. But change cannot come if we are the same person every day. Change begins at the moment we decide to go beyond familiar patterns, when we stop being slaves to the past and start consciously creating the future. One of the fundamental tools for this transformation is meditation, but not as a relaxation technique. Here, meditation is a conscious act of crossing the old self and creating a new state of being. It is a moment when the mind disconnects from external stimuli, from the body, from time, and enters a field of pure possibilities. There, in the space beyond the known, one can literally program a new self, a new identity, new beliefs, a new way of life. The body, which for years was addicted to emotions such as fear, anger, or regret, initially resists this transformation. But through repetition and deep commitment, it can be reprogrammed. The body begins to learn new emotions, joy, gratitude, love for life. And it is precisely when emotions start to outpace experience, when we feel the future before it happens, that extraordinary things begin to happen. The transformation mentioned is not something reserved for the chosen few. It is a process accessible to anyone willing to go beyond their old beliefs and habits. A key element is understanding that the mind and body are one system. Thoughts influence the body's chemistry. When we experience stress, anxiety, or anger for a long time, our body lives in a state of chronic tension. Stress hormones weaken the immune system, disrupt balance, and lead to illnesses. But when we begin to feel emotions of harmony, love, joy, gratitude, the body starts to regenerate. It begins to heal itself. The biggest obstacle in this process is our own identity, what we believe about ourselves, about life, about our possibilities. If we tell ourselves all our lives, "I am weak, I don't deserve it, I am unlucky, I will never succeed," it is these beliefs that create our reality. To change something, we need to break down the old narrative and build a new one, and that requires mindfulness and discipline. Visualization plays a crucial role in this approach. It's not just imagining something pleasant. It is a very concrete tool for creating new neural connections in the brain. If we enter an emotional state during meditation every day that corresponds to the future we desire, the brain begins to believe that it is already happening, and the body starts to react as if it were a reality. In this way, you can not only change your mood, but also genuinely influence your health, relationships, and life situation. It is important to understand that we do not change because something external is changing. We change because internally we start to operate at a different frequency, and when this new frequency is strong, stable, and authentic, the external world begins to adapt to it, not the other way around. Everything begins with a decision. From the moment we tell ourselves, "Enough of repeating the same thing. I want something different. I want to be a different person." And when this decision is reinforced by daily practice, focus, and intention, the first changes appear. They may be small, but meaningful. We start to feel different, act differently, react differently, And this is exactly the beginning of a completely new reality. Over time, this transformation begins to accelerate. The more we practice new states of being, the more we identify with them. We stop being the same person who constantly analyzed the past and lived in patterns. Instead, we start to act from a level of awareness, not reaction. A new coherence develops between what we think, what we feel, and how we act. And when this coherence appears, harmony begins to reign in our lives. We often say that we want to change our lives, but we do not want to change ourselves. That is why so many people remain in the same emotions, relationships, and circumstances. To truly change life, one must become someone else, someone who already feels as if what we desire is already part of our experience. And this means teaching the body a new emotional state before anything happens externally. This process requires perseverance. The mind does not give up easily. The body will demand old emotions, old habits. There will be moments of doubt, returns to the old self. But if we persevere, the body will begin to tune into the new version of ourselves. New emotions will become everyday life. They will cease to be an exception. They will become the norm. In this state, one can begin to live from the heart level, and that changes everything. The heart is not only a symbol of love, it is also a powerful electromagnetic center whose field influences us and the environment. When we enter a state of deep gratitude, love for life, compassion, we send a signal that synchronizes our body, mind, and soul. And it is precisely then that the body begins to heal, relationships harmonize, and new opportunities appear in reality. It's not about controlling everything. It's about trusting yourself, the process, the energy that guides everything. When we are in a state of deep connection with the present moment, in a state of inner peace and openness, we attract events that resonate with this state. This is not magic. This is the physics of consciousness. It is the natural law of resonance. In such a state, life ceases to be a continuous struggle. We stop feeling like victims of circumstances. We begin to understand that we have influence, that what we think, feel, and who we are internally matters. And it is precisely this that gives true freedom, the awareness that the future is not something random. It is something we can co-create. From this place of inner power, a completely different way of living is born. We no longer need to seek external confirmation. We do not need approval to feel valuable. We do not have to prove our worth or compete with others. Instead, we start acting from a place of fullness, from a place where we are already enough. It is this change that brings lightness, meaning, and joy into life. In daily practice, consistency is of great importance. Change does not happen all at once. Every moment in which we choose a new thought, a new reaction, a new emotional state, is a brick building the future. And although at first it seems that nothing is happening, over time what is internal begins to manifest externally. Health improves, relationships change, circumstances appear in life that previously seemed unattainable. All of this is based on one assumption, that consciousness creates reality, that our internal attitude influences the external world. When we stop living with fear and start living with intention, everything around us begins to resonate with this new frequency. We do not need to know all the answers. It is enough to know who we want to become, and every day we take a step in that direction. When people around the world begin to live in accordance with this knowledge, the results are astonishing. Healing from chronic illnesses, overcoming depression, forgiveness, relationship transformations, a new quality of life. But most importantly, people start to feel free, not thanks to circumstances, but despite them. Because true freedom is not something that can be obtained from the outside. It is an inner state that we choose ourselves. In summary, the essence of these teachings lies in a simple but powerful message. Change yourself, and everything will change. We don't have to wait for a miracle. We are the miracle ourselves. When we learn to manage our own energy, thoughts, and emotions, we stop being victims and become creators. And when we become creators, life takes on a completely different dimension. it becomes a path of growth, joy, and deep meaning. Thank you for being with us in today's episode of Masters of Consciousness. If this message touched your inner self, if something resonated within you, pause for a moment, breathe consciously, and remember, you have everything within you that you need to create a new life. Subscribe to the channel if you want to discover with us new realms of consciousness, spiritual growth, and self-healing. See you in the next episode. Be present, be creators, be the light.